So, seen this story on awfulannouncing.com, and it's a cool little website. They break a lot of sports news stuff that you don't see from the mainstream media now. Malika Andrews works for mainstream media, ESPN to be exact. She's on host of NBA Today and NBA Countdown, and she's doing this. It was this piece that they came out with today that I read, and I caught the interview. I actually did my due diligence. I watched this, and it was not easy to watch. Apparently DeMar Rosen has like this mental health podcast, and she went on there. But as you see in this story, she is standing her ground because she's not ignoring the noise. You know what I mean? I'm glad that this website covered this because ESPN wasn't gonna say anything, as she still continues to work there, and she basically is finally breaking her silence on the criticism that she gets mainly online because she ain't getting it nowhere else. Des Bryant was probably the only person who said something to her about this a couple years ago. But the obvious criticism about her criticism on black male athletes. Now, she feels, and she stated in this, article that she feels like she's not pleasing most hoop fans. I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, most of your audience, first of all, the league that you cover has 90% black men in it. And then majority of the people watching your show from the countdown shows and even just the NBA product are mainly black folks. Especially now, the NBA's audience is dwindling and dwindling even more and more. You really got just mostly black folks and whatever white folks is holding on still that's watching. But yet you're constantly coming at black men. So yeah, she finally addresses the elephant in the room. Now this really became like major when she first broke the Ime Udoka story about 2 years ago, who was the coach of the Celtics. He had an affair, he cheated on Nia Long, had an affair with a team staff member, but it was consensual. It wasn't like he put a gun to this lady's head. She made it seem like like it was a rape case. I mean, she was going off on Ime. And then the Brandon Miller kid who was at Alabama, he got caught up in a shoot situation where he delivered a gun, and she was making it seem like he was a terrorist. Right? Now he's in the league right now. He's on the Hornets. Now she did that, made him seem like he was a terrorist, had nothing for Josh Giddey, who was on OKC last year, the forward. He's for the Bulls now. This guy right here who got caught, what was he, sexting teenage girls on Snapchat or whatever? Come on, man. Had nothing to say about him for real. And it's like, yo, so people are seeing it and people have been calling out for it. Now, this is a clip that she, from this podcast, the DeMar Rosen's mental health podcast. And she talks about coming from Oakland, and she didn't have the typical black Oakland experience. She's obviously biracial. And here she goes bringing up her stance.
To keep that in mind when I'm talking about players, right? I try to have that empathy
for sure,
and understand that I have a job to do, but also understand like I'm not here to play gotcha.
For sure.
I say you've heard me say this before. I always say I want to be two things. I want to be accurate and I want to be fair.
For sure, yep.
And if I'm not one of those two things, you might not always like me, but this is my number. Please call me. And people have called and they've said that. And I say that oftentimes to before, especially before I'm talking to folks about something that is sensitive or tough, because these things come up. And it is hurtful. Like I think that's okay to say sometimes. It hurts. Even it doesn't matter if it is someone who is credible or someone with a big platform, or if it's someone in their mom's basement just firing off a post. Sometimes it is hurtful when that seeps through, particularly for me when it's not true.
Right.
And that's been the hardest part for me sometimes is stomaching the falsehoods, particularly, this you hate black men or think that couldn't be farther from the truth, and using my family or the way that my family looks as some sort of evidence of that. And that is just untrue.
For sure.
And it's just unkind. And, we all have jobs to do, and we do our best. I try to do my best to show up every day in a way that you guys know what I'm about. And that doesn't mean that I've covered every story perfectly. It doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes, but I think I'm pretty good at saying to you guys in particular, could have been better there.
No question.
And that's, I think, what I hope we can keep as social media continues to be bigger in the world, that kindness and that humanity that I worry sometimes we're losing.
Yeah, and I feel like it's getting tougher and tougher because I think people on the other side of the phone don't have that empathy or don't look at...
Or context of like, we
all.
talk.
Yeah,
like, it's not like you just show up and
exactly.
like...
All right, so that's her stance on that. Now, she comes from a mixed family. She speaks on that in the podcast, and she's also just got married to ESPN reporter Dave McNenaman, whatever. Yeah. So now the most hateful viewers in Andrews' online mentions likely use her racial background. So you see, she's trying to, I'm reading the article when I say this, she's trying to play victim here and, spin it the other way around. Like, I'm not the bad guy, you guys are. Because you guys are coming for me and I'm just doing my job. That's her stance on it. But in reality, it's not a coincidence. She's been doing this for a while now. And like I said, it comes across, you got to understand, majority of the audience are black men. So yeah, if there's a disconnect with you and them, of course. But that's got to be weird, though, going to work every day and you have like a hate relationship with half the majority of your audience. Like, read the room. Like I say, I said it years ago. Maybe she should go work for another network. Go work for like some feminist network or something like that. You got too many men, black men in particular, watching this damn show. And if you make them feel like, offensive, yeah, they probably not going to want to fuck with you. They don't like you. But, and like meanwhile, as she continues to marry people at ESPN, she continues to climb up the ladder on the network, and while they laid off like 400 people, she's still around there, and they're gonna keep her around. But yeah, no one's, if anyone's still watching, I haven't watched ESPN in I don't know how long, unless it's like a live game. I haven't been watching any of their coverage. Half of these shows they got, it's just the same topics. It's just they just recycle the host. There's really nothing different, but it just feels like she has a pattern of singling out and smearing black players. And, then she tries to turn around and play victim behind it. Like, no, people called you out on your shit. And there's not that much diversity in the sport that you cover. You cover by far the blackest sport that there is. So, yeah, maybe you just, maybe she should go cover lacrosse or soccer or something else. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about Malika Andrews breaking her silence on all her so-called haters out there. Like, share, subscribe.